on to, but there's a whole lot of air out there between the jumps.
It is. It sure is. You come off that first set of cars, you're getting a little air, and you exactly straight lined up for the second set of cars because they're so close together. Then we're getting a lot of air on the second set of cars.
When you guys go for that second set of cars, is it just kind of like laying all the cards on the table? You know the finish line is right at the end of it. You just pull the trigger and see if you can get it.
That's more or less it, because, you know, if you don't do it, the other guy might, you know, and the race is won and lost right there.
Well, stay with us. When we return, it's racing between Awesome Kong and Clydesdale, Nightlife against No Problem, and Bigfoot takes on Buffalo Trimmer straight ahead on Power Tracks. And welcome back to Power Tracks in the nation's only Monster Truck Championship Points Racing Series, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge outside Buffalo, New York. We are in round number 1, and coming out next is Bennett Clark, the driver of Clydesdale. Bennett, 32 years old, out of Powder Springs, Georgia, and he is taking on the third driver of this truck in the last 12 months. It's Steve Kane and Awesome Kong out of Killeen, Texas.
Well, you know, they say, Richard, the cheapest thing to change on any type of motorsporting vehicle is the driver, and that's exactly what Jeff Dane's doing. He had the right combination last year with his brother driving. Then he switched over to this Steve Kane young man, and I'm impressed with this youngster. He's doing a good job with an awfully good truck. However, Bennett Clark was looking good and took a real bad hop after the first set of cars. That's going to advance Kane with the Awesome Kong Texas Chevrolet.
You know, it almost looks like Bennett Clark is nose heavy at times.
It really does, and it shouldn't be that way because of the long wheelbase. He built the long truck so it would not do that. I don't know what the problem is, Richard.
Well, fans, get ready because we've got another Ford Chevrolet war coming to the line next. It is Dave Wysork in the Chevrolet Nightlife out of Grand Island, Nebraska. 27 years old, been in a monster truck racing now 4 years, and he is taking on Jammin' John Moore, the No Problem Ford driver from Lafayette, Tennessee. John, a veteran at 43 years of age, and keep your eye on Wysork. He's the guy that drives with his head hanging out the window.
Yeah, one of the most unique driving styles in the sport. Yeah, it looks to me, Richard, like it'd be uncomfortable, but he says that it's the way it works for him. He's out. He looks like he's going to advance. No problem. Look at that. Wysork has more coverage from the word go. Chevrolet advances over the Ford.
Well, he doesn't advance with No Problem. He advances with Nightlife. No Problem got beat. I was just kidding around with you there, Army.
Okay, I got this all figured out.
All right. So Dave Wysork moves on into the quarterfinals. We're going to move down trackside. Army's got him right now.
Where did you develop that unique driving style? It's one of the big questions we get all the time. Why does he drive with his head out the window?
Well, it's easier for me to see where I'm going down the track. When your truck hits some ramps and goes up in the air, you can't tell where you're going, and it's easier for me to get good eyesight of where I'm going and where to steer to.
How about the truck tonight? Is it feeling okay for you? It's looking awfully good.
Yeah, the truck feels real good. The ramps are a little steep and everybody's getting a lot of air. It's just trying to keep the trucks down low so you can make some speed. But I guess you just got to do what you can. But goodbye.
Well, our next race ought to be a dandy. The mean-looking Andy Brass, the driver of the big, powerful Ford Bigfoot, is going to be taking on the hometown hero, talking about John Kwasniewski, the driver of the Chevrolet Buffalo Trimmer. And you know, the Trimmer driver, Kwasniewski, has a brand-new truck featuring a lighter frame and a much larger motor. We talked with John earlier today about performing in front of the hometown folks and about this great-looking new truck called the Buffalo Trimmer.
John, you're actually playing monster truck racer in an area that you grew up in as a young man, I understand.
Yes, I did. My father used to drag race here in 1960s and 70s. I used to come with my grandfather. He'd bring me out here every Friday night. My father used to race here. He used to race in double B gas, top eliminator. I've been coming here for a long time. I know basically everything about the track.
Okay, you used to sit on the other side of the grandstand. Now people are paying big bucks to see you run. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel a lot better. Now I'm on this side. I used to be on the other side. I like it better on this side.
Let's talk about the monster truck itself. A lot of innovations on the truck. The frame on the truck, can you tell us about that? Can you tell us about the engine combination and why you decided to make a major change in those two areas?
Well, my truck last year, I did some racing last year, and the truck seemed a little bit too heavy. I used to run a steel frame out of a tractor. We switched to an aluminum frame, which is about 1,000 pounds lighter than the frame we used to use. We were running with a 572 cubic inch blown alcohol injected Chevrolet. And the power is there. We got about 1,500 horse. It makes a big difference now from what it used to be last year.
You know, Army, one of John Kwasniewski's hobbies is playing ice hockey. But right now it's monster truck racing as they are staged at the line waiting for the green light. And here we go.
Kwasniewski picks on one of the bad boys in this sport. Bigfoot working the inside with Andy Brass. Kwasniewski's giving him a good run, Richard.
At the finish line, Andy Brask, by the sweat of his brow, gets the win over the Buffalo Trimmer. But don't be surprised to see Trimmer come back as possibly a fast loser. Let's go trackside with Army and John.
Well, John Kwasniewski out of the Buffalo area, an awfully wild run, but the word we're getting is you may still be in competition. They say you may be able to come back as quick loser.
That's what I just heard. They said I got the fastest losing time.
So that will bring you back?
That will bring me back.
Okay, you're going to be coming back, or you're going to be making any driver changes. The truck looked really out of shape in between the jumps. How are you going to change that?
And we're going to change a little bit on the starting line. We're going to change the way we're taking off, that's all.
And the quarterfinals are straight ahead. Here's how they're going to pair up. USA 1 will take on the Jersey Outlaw. Carolina Crusher against Buffalo Trimmer. Wild Hair faces Awesome Kong. And Bigfoot will take on Nightlife. We'll be right back with more professional monster truck racing on the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. It's the Major League of Professional Monster Truck Racing, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge from Lancaster Speedway outside Buffalo, New York, where next is the Jersey Outlaw against the USA 1. You know, we asked Rod Litzow earlier about how his truck has performed lately after a slow start in defense of his National Driving Championship.
Well, we've had some problems this year starting out in that, but basically we've ironed out quite a few. We're just every race we go to, we're trying something different. Hopefully we got everything ironed out now because we have to do some catching up in points. We are standing in the fourth right now, and we are going for #1 spot, so we hopefully have everything solved.
So here's Mike Wine in the Ford against Rod Litzow in the Chevrolet.
Litzow, like you said, he's trying to find a handle on this thing, but you can tell by talking with him, he's starting to believe in himself. The Chevrolet name brand looks good. Completely cleared the first set of cars. Look at Litzow. Litzow has definitely found a handle. Richard, he completely cleared the first set of cars.
I'll tell you what, if you don't think Rod Litzow is serious about winning another national championship, let's talk to him.
Rod, working your way through the field of a real tough situation here. The track looks awfully airish out there tonight. Everybody's going straight up.
Yeah, it is. The cars ain't getting hammered down like I thought they would, but later in the race they might start going down a little better. I'm trying to make it so I clear the last set of cars, but it's going to get faster and faster, and I'm trying to put the trucks into 6 seconds now.
Well, good news for the Buffalo fans as John Kwasniewski gets to come back as a fast loser, but look who he is facing, the current national championship points leader, Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher.
You can bet one thing, Richard, Porter is not going to take this young man lightly. Just a moment ago when he was bumped out, I'm talking to Buffalo Trimmer, when he was bumped out by Bigfoot, he ran a real quick time. Carolina Crusher knows this kid can do it. He's working real hard to hold on to the lead. Porter going to hang on for a win out of the right. Oh! Boy, this kid was going after it. The ramps are really starting to look spooky out there, Richard Lee.
I'll tell you, the ramps are really pushing these trucks up into the air. And earlier today, we asked Clydesdale driver Bennett Clark about the construction of ramps and how they affect these monster trucks.
To each monster truck driver, the word ramp is probably one of the most important words in his vocabulary. Bennett Clark, tell me why ramps are so important.
Well, ramps are a major part of hitting the cars. Some of the ramps are a little bit steeper, some of them a little bit longer. The longer the ramp on the entrance to the cars, it makes a big difference. When you've got a long section of cars, you want a long ramp to where you can jump, you land flatter out in the cars or jump completely over the cars. The steeper the ramp is, you're going to jump, you're going to go up real high in the air, come back down, and land on all 4 tires. You land real hard. You want forward momentum at all times while you're racing.
So basically what we're hearing is the steeper the ramp, the more air you're going to get. You're going to go further out with a longer ramp and further up with a steeper ramp.
Yeah, the longer the ramp, the further you can go. I mean, you can jump. You can make long jumps with a steep ramp, but you're not going to make any time at all.
Well, with real steep ramps, let's give the advantage to the kid, the Flying Texan, Awesome Kong, and Steve Kane. He's known for getting a lot of air as he takes on Wild Hair and Bob Rain, the Chevy out of Missouri.
Both of them rely on Chevrolet horsepower. Uh-oh.
He did.
Chevrolet horsepower caught the Wild Hair. Meanwhile, this kid out of Texas really makes a run. Now, both of these trucks run a rear engine combination. And the word we get on the wild hair, he tore a torque converter out of the transmission, Richard.
So not good news for Bob Breen as he is unstrapping and having, it looks like, a few choice words with his brother John. John, of course, the driver of the Mad Dog. Well, Bigfoot is scheduled to race next, and we talked to Andy Brass, the driver of Bigfoot, who has not raced with us so far this year, about making up ground in the points race. Is it possible to come back and win it all?
Well, yeah, I was kind of talking to Scott and some of the guys today, and we'd have to take first at least 10 shows straight just to get, you know, up into the standings a little bit. It'd really be hard, you know, I mean, because everybody else would be doing shows along with us, and like I say, we're 10 shows behind right now.
Of course, Army, there's still a big debate about whether or not Bigfoot is going to continue to run on this circuit. Have you heard any more about that?
No, he hasn't been following the whole point circuit. He did come on the New York Mini Tour, but right now, nobody's going to give him anything. Andy Brass is taking it all. This kid has not lost a touch. Look at this, Richard.
Now, Dave Weisort gets blown away. The Ford blows away the Chevrolet, so Andy Brass will advance into the semifinals. And when we return, it'll be the semifinals, USA 1 against Crusher and Bigfoot against Awesome Kong.
Power Tracks and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and monster truck racing.
Well, the Monster Mash continues. In Buffalo, New York, it's the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. I'm Richard Leake along with Army Armstrong, where we are in the semifinals. And it's going to be first up, USA 1, the defending national champion with Rowdy Rod Litzow taking on the current national points leader, Gary Porter, and Carolina Crusher. And this is what people buy the tickets for, Army.
Yeah, this could be the race of the year. The reason being, Litzow's trying to find the handle. Porter's definitely in control of this thing. It all gets down to points. Now, somebody's going to really get a big jump in points after taking a win in this race. I don't know who it's going to be, but whoever he beats will not be around for the final. Litzow look at that, super strong. Rod Litzow seems to be possessed tonight in New York. You can just see the confidence oozing out of this kid.
I'll tell you what, Rod Litzow ran the quickest qualifying time by some 3 seconds. Now he blows away Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter. He is making a strong bid as we start this New York circuit for a second national title. Here's Army.
Well, the way I'm feeling right now, it's hard to explain, but I just can feel this track. I'm feeling good. I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for True Value and Chevrolet. I'm going to put it all together tonight.
Rod Litzow reminds me of the old Rocky movie. He has got the eye of the tiger. Well, Steve Kane and Awesome Kong is going to be facing Bigfoot in our next semifinal matchup. And you know, Steve Kane has been coming on strong lately after replacing Steve Dane as driver of Awesome Kong. We asked Steve about the truck's performance and the driver's performance since that change.
I'm comfortable in the truck, but I don't think the truck's where it should be as far as in the points. I personally feel that the truck should be right up there in number 1.
Okay, how are you going to get it in that number 1 spot?
I'm just going to have to go out there and do better running.
What seems to be the problem this year? You guys having breakage problem or anything? I don't see any driver error at all. Is it breakage problem?
Yeah, we had a problem there for a while with our transfer cases kept breaking and stuff like that, but I think we pretty well got that fixed.
Well, let's find out how well they fixed it as Awesome Kongs takes on Bigfoot to find out who gets the right to face USA 1 for the championship tonight.
Another Chevrolet Ford battle. Bigfoot wants to get a hold of USA 1, but so does the Texas Awesome Kong. What's going to happen? Steve Kane comes out. Richard, what a race, side by side.
Whoa!
I cannot tell from my viewpoint. You're going to have to call this one, Richard Lee.
We've got track officials up here with radios. We're waiting for the official word now. As such a close race, a photo finish. They're reviewing the videotape, and we are getting to where, there you see it. The winner is going to be by a tire. Awesome Kong advances into the championship. He'll face Rod Litzow in USA 1. Let's go down and talk to the winner.
Well, Steve Kane, the winner's flag is going to go to a new truck tonight. It's either going to go to Minnesota or it's going to go to Texas. What do you have to say about it?
I feel it's going to go to Texas.
You did something nobody else could do tonight. You won out of the left lane. You not only won, you won by 2/100ths of a second over Bigfoot. It took an extra special driving effort on your behalf. You're doing a great job with that truck, and I know you're going to go back in that left lane because USA 1's not going to come out of the right. But I don't believe you're as worried about it now as you were a moment ago.
No, I was kind of worried there for a little bit when I had that lane, but now that I won, I feel good about that lane. I feel it's pretty equal, and I feel that I can win.
Well, that is going to put USA 1 versus Awesome Kong in the championship race. But while the drivers make last-minute adjustments to their trucks and their engines cool down, it is time for us to go to the question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge from TNT Motorsports. And this question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge comes to us from Jason Lamp of West Point, Louisiana. Jason wants to know if there's any real advantage for a monster truck to have the engine in the front, mid, or rear part of the truck. Well, Jason, we spent some time with 3 different drivers that had their engines located in different areas of the truck. The first of which was Rod Litzow, the defending national champion in USA 1. He runs his engine in the front of the truck.
We want the truck to look like a stock truck, and it's a winning truck. And we've designed it so that it will fly through the air level. A lot of the other trucks, I don't know how they feel about driving them and that, but they tend to do wheel stands a lot.
But it helps it fly better. It keeps it more level going through the air, and where if you have the front engine, it tends to nosedive compared to ours. It seems to fly a lot better once you're going down the track.
Sometimes I've got a course that'll make it work so perfect that you think rear engine is the way to go. Then again, it'll turn around and the truck will nosedive with the motor in the rear. So really, it's kind of, you can go either way, but it is best to kind of balance the truck out. If anything, make the tail end just a little bit heavier.
Well, Jason, as you can see, the mystery surrounding engine placement really hasn't been solved yet. And with the ever-changing courses on a week-by-week basis, these drivers are still searching for the right solution. And if you have a question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, send it to us at TNT Motorsports, 5515 Poplar Park Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky, 40228. If we use your question on a future ESPN telecast, we'll send you free a TNT Motorsports hat. Well, it is time now to find out who will be the king of crunch car racing in Buffalo. It'll either be Awesome Kong, the former mudbogger, Steve Kane, or USA 1, the former motorcycle hill climber, Rod Litzow.
Richard, during the interview, both drivers said one word: flying. We're going to be looking for some air. And another thing, during the interviews, I noticed one thing between the drivers: confidence. Both of these fellas are pumped. Who's it going to be?
Good race.
Texas going after Minnesota. This kid out of Texas is looking good.
Whoa!
I don't know again. From
USA 1, Army. He took him by about half a nose of the hood. You see on the replay right there, Rod Litzow and USA 1 has started his long climb back, looking for his second consecutive national championship. It all starts here in Buffalo as we go trackside with your winner.
Rod, this kid out of Texas making a name for himself, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's a hard runner. But I was so pumped out tonight that I don't think there was anything that would have stopped me from taking him first place. And I really like this. I feel good out here. Everything's running great, and I'm going all out for it. Because once you start running mini-series, it's constant racing, so you get more used to the truck. And that's just what I like. I'm out here, I'm getting used to the truck. I can go faster and faster every track.
Okay, so once again, things get wild and woolly with the monster trucks. Tonight, USA 1 and Rod Litzow gets the win. Now think back to about this time last year. That's when Litzow made his big push that eventually led to the national championship. This could be the start of a second consecutive national crown for USA.
Marty Reed and Mike Galloway back with you at the Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Truck Pull Championships, and we have got monster trucks on the line. It'll be high voltage with Jeff Boehner at the wheel versus Sampson with Dan Patrick pulling the trigger.
88 Jeep with a blown Chevrolet on this side. 88 Chevrolet with a blown Chevrolet on the far side. This is Jeff Boehner out of Yakima, Washington. And Dan Patrick out of Kingston, Ohio on the far side. It's a tough track. It's a short blast over some cars. Look out, we're on the way. Landing's gonna be tough. Dan Patrick wheeling down the track. Now the tight turn. Jeff has got an advantage with the little Jeep, but Patrick's on the throttle. Who will it be? Patrick in trouble as he goes sideways. Look out, Jeff Boehner in trouble as he goes. Oh, he drove it out of it. Look at that. There is driving technique. All he has to do is take his time and cross the line, and he's a winner. That's the winner of first round. Wow, Marty. It was unbelievable.
Great performance by Jeff Boehner and Dan Patrick. It looks like something may have let go underneath in the motor. A lot of smoke coming out of there.
Patrick's had problems with the power steering belt, keeping the power steering going on this thing, and that may be what happened on Sampson. But there's a young man, pulled an upset here last year. And that's not your average size Jeep, as you can tell. It's been lengthened, it's been widened, but it is beautiful.
All right, getting ready for our second pair. in monster truck side-by-side action. Hot stuff with Debbie Roden at the wheel. And earlier, Mike had a chance to talk to Debbie.
Debbie Rose, how did you ever get involved in monster truck racing?
Jeff got me interested about a year ago, and I started driving this summer at some of the fair shows, just doing exhibition runs, and got into the racing in January.
What's the toughest part of the track tonight?
I think realizing how much throttle you've got to give it to get, to get into the cars real good, and how to stay on the power, get them straightened back out, and just hoping that everything lands right.
You think the short wheelbase hot stuff has an advantage in this tight course?
Yeah, I do. In the turning, it does, definitely. It's a little harder to get some air going over the cars like the long wheelbase, but we can, do the turning and gain our time through that.
Now, is the pressure on? This truck won here last time.
Yeah, it did. I'm just going to give it my best shot and just trying to hold up its image.
Well, I don't know whether she'll win tonight, but she's a winner in everybody else's eyes.
Lining up alongside of Debbie Roden's hot stuff will be Barefoot with Fred Schaefer behind the wheel, and he's got thumbs up, ready to go with that 540 cubic inch engine.
Well, Debbie's a great driver. Fred Schaefer has to be at an advantage with this all-race truck. Watch Fred Schaefer. This is tough. Look at Debbie. She's got the lead. She's got a big lead over Barefoot right now. Could this be? She is in a truck that has done it here before. Fred Schaefer has got to really get after it. Debbie lost a lot of time on the turn. Here's Schaefer. Hard jump. Schaefer over the cars, but it's not over. Debbie's still on the throttle. Schaefer's got to make a turn. It's going to be right down to the finish line. Who's it going to be? It's Fred Schaefer. The all-fiberglass race truck of Fred Schaefer from Pontoon Beach, Illinois, has just advanced.
And I think where he won it was down in the turn area when Debbie Roden had trouble either getting the power back in or maybe it slipped out of gear. I'm not sure.
Watch Debbie, beautiful jump. Now this is tough. This is tough on the driver, tough on the vehicle because they're jumping to ground. Now watch how high they come back up in the air. Debbie keeps the right tire down. That's good. She is pretty strong on this turn. She's ahead right now, probably a Jeep and a half length. It's a good tight turn for Debbie. She's in good shape, but here she gets in trouble. He has to do some readjusting. She still recovers very well as she heads down towards the cars and makes a beautiful jump. Look how much she's getting beat around inside of it. Beautiful jump, lands on the cars, back on the throttle, powers it off the other side. Now here's Fred. Oh, he's in trouble. It's all over the place. But Fred Schaefer's a pro. Nail the throttle when you think you've got a problem. He does just that, crosses the finish line with the lead.
Well, up comes the one that brings the crowd to their feet every time that they bring this truck to the line. Bigfoot, Jim Kramer behind the wheel. He'll be in the near lane against Evil Force, Ray Prokowski.
Ray out of St. Louis, Jim out of St. Louis, both of them blown Fords. You've got to put a little bit of advantage over to the Bigfoot side, if nothing else, just because of the time sequence that they've spent in the business. Jim said earlier, this is a tough track. This first two-car jump is really hard on the equipment and it's hard on the machinery. Here we go, Evil Force, Bigfoot. Look at that, he does it right. He's very slow over that first set of cars. Then he makes the time, a beautiful turn, lifts up the right front tire. Prokowski over on the other side, he's got a little problem. Kramer, nail the throttle, get over him. Kramer does just that, handles it very well. Prokowski, Kramer in a little bit of a problem. He's in trouble down at the end. Prokowski's trying to come back, he may do it. Oh, Bigfoot pulls off a win, and it was really, really close, Marty.
Great
right
race.
At the end.
Great race at the end. You were right. Bigfoot got deep into the corner, and it gave the Prokowski Evil Force time to catch up a little bit, and it was a close finish. Don't go away. We'll have more monster truck action here at the Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Truck Pull Championships. But first this. As if the cars are not enough of an obstacle for the monster trucks, Mike Galloway is down trackside to point out that they have added a new twist that could prove to be very hairy.
The monster truck racing courses are getting tougher and tougher every week. This car that was here has been moved, and an intentional mound of dirt has been put in its place. you better have enough momentum when you hit the first car to carry you over to what would be the third car. It's going to be a catastrophe if you try to hit them slow. We're going to watch this real close tonight. I think it's something very critical in this monster truck racing course.
Barefoot with Fred Schaefer, and High Voltage with Jeff Bainter, and the winner advances to face Bigfoot. Different tires on these two vehicles, Mike.
Fred's running an experimental tire about 400 pounds a piece lighter. This truck is ultra light, about 9,000, 9,500 pounds. Most of the rest of them 14,000. Fred Schaefer would have to be a favorite on this set of race coming up right now. Although, never, ever count out High Voltage Jeep. Watch Fred, easy with it. And Jeff Bainter jumps. 5 cars that aren't there. It's close. It's just neck and neck. They are absolutely side by side. Who will it be? Jeff Bainter is over the card. He is in a little bit of the lead. Bainter's in the lead. Schaefer's in trouble. Schaefer's all over. He's back on the throttle. Bainter is going to do it. He's going to do it for the second year in a row. This man has pulled another upset. He's pulled an upset. High Voltage Jeep has just pulled the upset of the year. This young man came to win. He came all the way from the state of Washington. He said, Mike, I've got some very important people here watching tonight. I need to go for it. You can't go much further, Monty.
He won it in the turn because of that short turning radius. And watch here in the replay, up over the vehicles. You're right. Bainter cleared 5 of them.
Look at this. Look how far he lands, and then it's just up on the wheel, but that's when he nails the throttle. Fred covers him a car.
But watch how deep Fred goes in the corner. Meanwhile, Bainter's already making the turn, and this is where he took the lead. Look at this.
Real close. Now, Jeff gets the lead from this point on. He's on the cars immediately. Look, beautiful job, but Fred is in trouble when he lands. Watch him land on it. He's on the throttle. Now he comes off to the side, comes back around, and it looks like that Fred just couldn't pull one out at the very end of it, even though he tried to.
So it'll be Bigfoot with Jim Kramer against Hot Stuff with Debbie Roden as she gets a second chance to advance.
Debbie has the fastest losing time, and she comes back and runs the winner. She ran the course faster than Evil Force, so that gave her, she actually came up through what would be a loser's bracket to go for a win again, and she could. She's good. You know, she's real good.
But she's got to start from the other lane. So another difference there. She'll be making a left circuit instead of to the right. And Bigfoot immediately takes a big, big lead.
Jim Kramer in a big lead. Debbie had a little problems coming over Kramer. Kramer's leaking something out of that truck. Uh-oh. My heavens, and he is really hammering it hard. Debbie has lost her helmet on the other side. Her helmet's gone. Kramer comes back to a win. This thing is unbelievable. There was just action everywhere in that last race. There's Debbie, and let us hope that she's all right. You know, take a tremendous beating in those things. It's Kramer's race, basically. Debbie gets too high and has problems landing it, but Kramer easing over them. Now look how high Debbie is. She's in trouble, lands crooked, off to the side of the track, but watch Jim Kramer. When he makes this turn, you're going to see that he's leaking something out of the truck. Whether it's water, transmission fluid, I don't know, but there'll be a streak come up behind him. You see it coming out right there between the front tires. Now watch this left front tire. Watch that. That's very important. See how high the truck is. The tires turn to the left, and there's where he's in trouble. Drive it out. Look at it go right up into the body. But Jim Kramer, being the pro that he is, nails the throttle, and that's what you've got to do in this case, Marty. When that truck's in trouble, you got to nail the throttle. There's Debbie. You see her blonde hair flying in the wind, and you know, you got to say, Debbie, you're going to make it because you don't give up, and that's exactly what she did. She didn't give up. She said, I'm here and I can do it. Watch, and I tell you what, you got to be proud of her. Very proud of her. So, final round will be
High Voltage versus Bigfoot. Well, this is it, the finals in the monster trucks, as we've got Bigfoot with Jim Kramer in the near lane, and then it'll be Jeff Bainter in the Jeep over in the far lane, and both have a lot at stake here in Pontiac.
Listen, they've got, adrenaline's got to be pumping. Jeff is looking back saying, hey, I did this once before last year. And Kramer's saying, hey, this guy beat me last year. This is definitely a monster truck shootout. All the talking's over with. It's race time.
We're underway as they head for the first pair of cars.
They're both over them easy. They're both over them easy. Bigfoot says not tonight. Now, here's the important part. Is he going to make the turn? Maynard is eating him up on a turn, but now Kramer is up on it and running over. It's drifting to the left. It's going to be tough. Kramer is going to handle this one. We're not going to let this one slip away. Jeff coming on right at the end. Right at the end. It's close. It's close. I'm going to have to say it's Bigfoot. It was close. Does that little Jeep get it and get it in a hurry? That's unbelievable racing.
Tremendous race from both competitors. Every corner, the Jeep made up ground where he lost it in the straightaway and almost pulled it off as Bigfoot wins in the monster trucks. Here we go again with the replay, and Mike, both played it very smart on the first set of cars, trying to keep the traction down on the ground.
Yeah, this is that's good driving right there. They've been watching, but Kramer, boy, when he comes off the cars, he nails the throttle. I think Jeff has to wait just a little bit to get all the orientation back together. Spins the corner. Kramer hard on the throttle down the straight chute, and here he goes up and over. Now look at this. He goes to the left again when he goes over the cars, easing down, lands hard, body takes more of a beating. But he's not going to let this one get away. And right here, Marty looks like he's got it won until you look across the high voltage. And Jeff, with his little 89 Jeep, makes a tight turn. Look how close they are. Bigfoot might have a pickup length on him right at the finish line. Now back to live action, and we're ready to go.
With monster tank eliminations, it'll be Stormtrooper and Ricky Rodman against Track Attack, Ernie Brooken.
Look at Ernie Brooken. My, I've never seen a tank get that high. The Stormtrooper on the far side. Rick doing a good job. Ernie with the tank attack. Look out. He just sings over them. Can you believe that, Marty? Look at...
And you talk about turning radius. Look at the way Track Attack... Oh,
Brooken just spun it. Brooken just made a 180 and
stalled it.
He stalled it out. The Stormtrooper's in trouble on the far side, but he's going to... Ernie Brooken may try to back across. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Brooken needs to get on the throttle in a hurry. Who's it going to be? It's at the finish line. We're going to have to wait for somebody to fill us in on that one.
I think Track Attack got it right at the finish line.
If he did, it was by mere inches.
He was so fast down in that corner, he did a complete 360 and stalled the vehicle and almost lost the race.
If it can happen tonight, it most definitely is happening here.
Look at the replay, and you said you've never seen this in your entire career.
Never seen a tank get that high.
I mean, totally off the ground. And watch the turning radius here in the corner. As Brooken literally, he locks up the right side.
Spins her, just keeps and nails the throttle, and beautiful work right down the line. He goes as hard as he can go. And Ernie flying this thing over the cars, never lets up. That's South Dakota's largest snowmobile.
And there's how far back Stormtrooper is. With Ricky Rodman, he is just clearing the cars at that point and having a bundle full of problems. But in the meantime, it was Brooken spinning around.
There's where he spun.
Yeah, you see the tail end of it. And he now stalls the vehicle, gets it restarted. I thought he was going to back it across.
Well, I thought he would, too. I thought that would be a neat idea, back it across and win. But no, look at Ernie. Okay, but here, Stormtrooper coming into the picture. Now Ernie's pointed towards the line. Stormtrooper, Ricky's headed that way. Take him and run. Who's it going to be right at the final? Yeah, I believe you're right. It's
Track Attack.
Track Attack.
Well, meanwhile, the whistle means it's the Orange Blossom Special with Alan Gaines. And it's going to go up against Fast Tracks with Dan Dubes behind the wheel. And the canopy comes down on Dubes.
We've had a driver change and just realized it. If we can relay that to you, Dan Dubes standing trackside. Bob Chandler, the old master, the gentleman that started driving this thing, has taken over the controls tonight. Watch out for this one. Uh-oh, that train is on a track to win. It's side by side.
Into the turn. Looks like Chandler gets the best of it.
He does, but Alan Gaines spins one. Chandler flying over the cars, and Chandler, if he doesn't spin, and it's slick down there, nail the throttle.
Whoa.
He doesn't. He's in trouble. Gaines is in trouble. Now, who's it going to be? Who will be straightened out the quickest? Who can it be? Who can it be? Gaines says, I'm going to go to the house. I don't think I can handle this. Chandler goes across for a win.
I don't think Gaines knew that he could still have a chance to win.
I don't either. I don't think he saw the spin. Here we go. Chandler, he had the idea, want to nail that throttle, but it came around on him too fast. Now, Gaines right there is set to win this.
All he had to do was make a clean turn, and he spins it out too.
And it wouldn't happen. Well, the showdown of showdowns should be coming up next as we put Track Attack against Bigfoot Fast Tracks. This is showdown time. St. Louis, Missouri, Fargo, North Dakota.
Bigfoot will be in the far lane. Track Attack will be in the near lane. Now, Track Attack will run the same lane for the second time, whereas Chandler's going to have to go the other route.
You can bet Ernie wants, they're both going to be very, very, they're going to be thinking a lot about spinning out. Well, here we go. Chandler in the lead. Chandler's got it, but now Track Attack coming back. Uh-oh, Ernie had problems. Had problems, and we'll see it on the replay, I think. But he's going to try to make a run at it. He is making a run at it. Now, it's Bigfoot, a lot of air. Track Attack making a charge right at the end. Chandler slowing down. He knows what's coming. He knows how he's going to have to do it. And Chandler takes a win. Chandler takes a win, but we saw something, Marty, on one of the drive wheels on the bottom of the Track Attack when he made his jump. Looked like it fell down and rotated back and kind of bound everything up underneath there. When he landed, he had a problem with it. All right, watch the Track Attack on this side. They're off, and it's very close. Chandler covers him out of the hole, by the way, and covers him well. Chandler about a tank lead, but look at this tire. See it come back, the track tire, and it looks like there it falls over. You can see it. The second one from the back has busted up in there, and now it gets back into position and goes on, and Ernie just can't overcome Bob's lead at that time.
Yeah, from that point on, it was Fast Tracks all the way with Bigfoot and Bob Chandler going on to victory. Well, here we go. The shell comes down on Fast Tracks. Bob Chandler against Jim Kramer and Bigfoot on the near side. The employee versus the boss. We're going to find out if Jim Kramer can beat the boss.
One thing about it, Marty, you can bet on a blue Ford and be safe.
Yeah, that's for sure. It has been a big night for the fans of Bigfoot. They win no matter which one they're rooting for.
Oh, this is going to be good. You know, and Marty, you're going to see them run them just as hard as they'll go. I mean, if they blow them up, that's fine. Bob says, I got people that'll fix them. Watch it, watch it. Kramer in the lead. Bob coming back. Bob. Oh, now, look at this. Kramer, can you do it? Can you do it?
Chandler's got the advantage in turning radius.
Uh-oh, the jump time. Uh-oh. Now, my heavens, we've got them everywhere. It's showdown time. They're just absolutely side by side.
Bigfoot.
I believe it is. It's a rubber-tired Bigfoot.
Fast Tracks will finish second.
A very close second.
The employee beats the boss.
Keeps his job.
And the crowd is ecstatic.
And they make a parade lap, and one that they very well deserve. There's Jimmy. Stepping out and waving to the crowd. Bob's got the top up on the track. Proud moment for both of them. Very good, close racing. All right, guys. We've got this thing set up on instant replay so you can watch it back. I'm just going to stick the microphone over there. Let's hear about it.
He jumped the gun on me. That's what it was. I wasn't asleep.
I think you Simon X'd on the line here.
Every time I race Jimmy, he's off a length ahead of me.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
I suppose.
I had to go here, Mike, because I know he can corner so well, and I had to try to get a little jump on him right here, that short straightaway we had, and try to get it around the corner as best I could, and accomplish that by trying to get that tire up in the air so it wouldn't scuff. I could make a corner better.
Where are you, Bob?
I have no idea. I don't see me on the video. I guess I was over there sleeping.
Well, you show up, but it's right at the last minute.
I jumped the cars, the best jump I had all night. Thank God it came in this race because it came off the cars really smooth.
That was really good.
Now, right here.
He's got to be here somewhere, I know, because I saw him at the finish line.
There he is. There I am. See, now here's where I slow down and let Jim win.
Oh,
right?
this is Jim win tonight?
That was a good run, though. That was neat.
Is that probably the closest race you two have ever had?
You know, as you know, last time at the Silverdome, we didn't get to do that race because we had a heating problem with the track. So we've been talking about this for months and months. And if we ever came down to it, we said, well, we're going for it. Right. We're sitting on the starting line. He looks over at me, gives me a funny look, and goes thumbs up. And I knew it was going to be a race from then on.
Well, Marty Reed, it's fun and chaos on the floor. Back up to you.
Thank you, Mike Galloway, Bob Chandler, Jim Kramer. Great show put on by Bigfoot and everybody here at the Pontiac Silverdome. We hope you've enjoyed today.
Over 5 miles of traffic of race fans waiting to get into Tampa, Florida's Tampa Stadium for one of the quickest, fastest, biggest, and most prestigious U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship Motorsports events of the year. Ready to kick things off in 1989. I'm Brett Kepner, and along with Shelley Herman, we'll be covering this championship event now for the 3rd year in a row. And for you mud racing fans out there, I'm sure you'll remember 1 year ago here at Tampa Stadium at the Super Bowl of Motorsports when a magic barrier was broken in championship 100-foot-long mud racing. It was Tom Martin in the Mud Patrol from Chicago, Illinois, driving through the 100-foot-long pit with the first elapsed time ever under 2 seconds flat at 1.97 seconds. Martin went on to win the 1988 U.S. Hot Rod Association Super Modified World Championship. And this event has proven to be a turning point in most professional mud racing drivers' careers. We'll be covering the championship mud racing today, Shelley, and indeed we have the infamous Black Magic Corvette. The best in the business are here.
Well, people are going to give Tom a real run for his money, and the people that have been waiting outside are in for a great show this evening.
We're back at the Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida, as we prepare for the qualifying round in one of the most prestigious monster truck championships on the U.S. Hot Rod Association National Event Trail. Tonight's event will be a side-by-side drag race competition, and the drivers will qualify for their positions in the final starting field. This will be the first qualifying round, and what a pair of machines we have on the starting line here tonight. One of the most popular pieces of equipment at this event each and every year from Avalon, Florida, is Tommy Bryant, and the machine you're looking at right now, the world's only 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback monster machine. Using an all-original production body, Tommy Bryant has combined this incredible Ford Mustang, a show-quality piece of equipment in itself, with monster truck engineering. And indeed, he will be up against this gentleman, Clint Dadgett, another Florida racer from Spring Hill, Florida, with his monster Ford called Thumper. Dadgett utilizing a Ford F-250 body style and a 460 cubic inch Ford wedge in this 14,000-pound piece of equipment. So an all-out battle between two Floridians on the starting line. And remember, this is for qualifying positions in the final starting field. Side-by-side drag racing style elimination action will be coming up once we get into the actual elimination segment of the Super Bowl of Motorsports Monster Truck program. You can see the course layout. Indeed, it includes a total of 7 vehicles in the first half of the car crush segment. The vehicles are equipped with dirt ramps to help the machines get airborne over them. After that, they will try to clear a total of 9 more vehicles, with the finish line located the 3rd vehicle before the end of the 2nd set of cars. The green flag comes down, and it is the Mustang Pony Express in the air and ahead of the Thumper Ford. Now over the 2nd set of cars, a tight battle. The Pony Express machine lands off the cars, as does Dadgett in the Thumper. But the Pony Express Ford Mustang of Tommy Bryant takes the first win and will get a chance to set the qualifying pace. Tommy Bryant took a wild ride on that run, as we can see on this replay. The first set of cars gave him a tremendous amount of air, but bouncing around between the cars, Tommy was still trying to set up the Mustang for a clean hit and got sideways on the initial impact. Landing off to the left-hand side of the cars, he still goes through with an incredible 9.13 second elapsed time for the low qualifying spot, at least at this point. This should be one of the most popular battles of this qualifying round. First up, it's Kenny Kelling in the near lane and the legendary Bigfoot Ford of Bob Chandler from St. Louis, Missouri. This particular machine stood this crowd on its ear 1 year ago at this event in winning the Unlimited Monster Truck Battle. However, he'll be up against a newcomer to the Florida ranks of monster truck racing in the far lane, the 1935 Ford, believe it or not, of Kenny Fecox from Polk City, Florida. Considered by many as one of the wildest newcomers on this national event trail, utilizing a 515 cubic inch Ford wedge power plant. They leave the starting line and it's Bigfoot getting the whole shot. Kenny Kelling and Bigfoot bouncing all over the place and getting a tremendous amount of advantage over the Outlaw 35, which just about goes over sideways. And Kenny Kelling in the legendary Bigfoot Ford wins his qualifying battle with ease. Kenny Kelling leaves the starting line beautifully, hits the first set of cars with the biggest airborne jump we've seen so far in qualifying, but a tremendously hard landing as the machine is still bouncing when he hits the second set of cars. But Kelling nearly clears the entire set, comes across the finish line with an incredible 8.49 second elapsed time, the #1 qualifying spot again for the defending champion here at the Super Bowl. On the replay, we can see the wild ride that Kenny Fecox had in the Outlaw 35 Ford. The first jump, not bad at all. The machine landing pretty squarely on the first set of cars. It was the second set of cars that gave him the problems. Bouncing around and then hitting the second set sideways, that's where he broke the tie rod. On that landing, destroying the front end and giving the Florida resident no steering whatsoever. He coasts across the finish line with an elapsed time of 20.13 seconds. Well, Kenny Kelling in Bigfoot sets the pace with the quickest elapsed time of qualifying at 8.49 seconds. And indeed, that will lead the way at this point, putting Tommy Bryant's Pony Express #2 at 9.13 seconds and the Thumper Ford from Florida at 9.35 in the #3 position. The next pair of machines in this qualifying round include in the far lane D.O. Wilson's incredible Virginia Giant, one of the most popular Ford monster trucks ever built out of the state of Virginia, from Winchester, Virginia to be exact. Wilson, the 14-year veteran of U.S. Hot Rod Association pulling, whether it be in funny cars or modified four-wheel drive trucks, this incredible $125,000 Ford, the Virginia Giant, is so popular on the eastern seaboard. But he will be up against a brand new piece of equipment, getting ready to fire up in the near lane. Kevin Dabney out of Tampa, Florida, another veteran monster truck campaigner with the brand new Chi-Town Hustler. Airborne for both machines. Dabney sideways, but still with the advantage. The Chi-Town Hustler machine almost sideways, and that one was too close to call. Dabney in the new Chi-Town Hustler machine just about going over the supercharged, fuel-injected, small-block Chevrolet-powered rear-engine machine. Had one of the wildest rides of this qualifying round, and the finish was just flat too close to call at this point. On the replay, you can see D.O. Wilson in the Virginia Giant Ford's first airborne launch over the first set of cars. The body shaking around as he definitely came down hard on the front end of the truck. When he brought it down on the ground, it was still bouncing. When he hit the second set of cars, he barely got it leveled out, but when he hit it, it was sideways in the air and came down almost falling off the cars. Wilson, on a wild ride, kept his foot in the throttle for one of the closest finishes we've seen, and gets an elapsed time of 9.34 seconds. Meanwhile, Kevin Dabney still trying to figure out the damage, if any, to the brand new Chi-Town Hustler Nissan King Cab. Here you can see Dabney sideways after a rough landing, trying to keep the machine straight, and there you see a tremendous amount of fluid spewing out of the front. It looks like it was the steering linkage and the steering fluid pump that went away for Kevin Dabney's brand new Chi-Town Hustler. The semifinals when we continue championship monster truck racing from the Super Bowl of Motorsports in Tampa, Florida in just a moment.
Out, for reaching high, for pushing hard each time you try, for taking time, for taking pride, for showing what you got inside, for the smile that's part of you, for stepping in,
for you. Beechwood Age for the taste so crisp, so clean, so refreshing. It's the king of beers.
Fall coming through. This one's for you. This one's for you.
We're back at Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Brent Kepner and Shelley Herman ready to start things off at the U.S. Harvard Association Super Bowl of Motorsports with the first official round of Monster Truck Elimination Competition. The #1 versus #4 qualifiers on the starting line. In the near lane, #1 qualifier Kenny Killing in Bob Chandler's incredible Bigfoot, who led the field by more than 0.6 of a second over his opponent, Dale Wilson, in the incredible Virginia Giant Ford with supercharged Ford power. And Shelley, they leave the starting line with a big all-shot advantage going to Kenny Killing. Dale Wilson trying to make up the difference, but he's not going to do it. And a wild ride for Kenny Killing as Bigfoot almost goes over in the very last 2 cars, but Dale Wilson still couldn't make up the difference, even with Killing's unfortunate bounce.
Well, both drivers seem to have their problems on this run. Kenny Killing airborne almost over the entire first set of cars, but then he goes into the bouncing that has given him problems even in the qualifying rounds. He hits the second set of cars. He overshoots to the left just a little bit, comes down off the cars, but manages to keep it upright. The elapsed time, the quickest of the event, 7.43 seconds for Kenny Killing and Bigfoot.
On the starting line now, Tommy Bryant and the incredible Pony Express from Florida, the world's only Ford Mustang monster machine, and it looks like Bryant will get a bye run as the Outlaw 1935 Ford truck that we saw earlier run into front end problems will not be able to make this round. Kenny Fecox from Park City, Florida is unable to make the call, so it will be a single run and an automatic single run into the semis for Tommy Bryant's incredible Mustang. Once again, a little sideways coming off the first set of cars, and Bryant still manages to keep it on all machines. So that will advance him into the semifinal round without opposition. But it also means that in the next round, Tommy Bryant will be forced to take on Bigfoot.
Tommy Bryant hits the first set of cars. As we see here on the replay, he still is having problems keeping that machine straight coming down off the first set of cars. But he never even thought about getting out of the throttle on this run. A great landing on the second set, and it's his quickest elapsed time. In fact, it ties Bigfoot's qualifying time, 8.49 seconds.
The final battle in the first round of eliminations here at the U.S. Harvard Association Super Bowl of Motorsports will pit this vehicle, the brand new Chi-Town Hustler. Nissan King Cab with supercharged small block Chevrolet power in the back against Florida's own Thumper. The beautiful Ford in the near lane was quite impressive in qualifying, making it in the #5 spot, only a few tenths of a second behind the #2 man, Clint Daggett, and his brother Earl. Campaigning the big green Ford, and here is a piece of Florida monster equipment. The winner will go to the semifinal round. Remember, the quickest loser in this first round will also receive an automatic semifinal round berth. Staged and ready. The green flag drops, and a big hole shot for the Chi-Town Hustler. But Dabney in the Chi-Town machine gets a little squirrely. Thumper even more sideways, covering the cars on 2 wheels. But Kevin Dabney will automatically go to the semifinal round. A great ride with the brand new Chi-Town Hustler. Shelley, it looks like they fixed whatever the steering problem was with the brand new Chi-Town machine, and obviously it's back in form.
And we're glad to see it.
Meanwhile, Earl Daggett at the other lane had a tremendous ride with Thumper. His first run of the evening, under 9 seconds, even though it was bouncing all over the place. A tremendous ride. He did his best to keep it or bring it back on the cars at the end. At the 8.90 seconds, he'll go to the semifinal.
What a wild ride.
And this battle will determine which tank tread machine will take on the winner of the 4-wheel drive category yet to come. It will be the car killer of Butch Lowe from West Palm Beach. The Ford Bronco that you're looking at, based on a 1941 Army M4 tank chassis, taking on the machine that started it all, the tank revolution, the Virginia Beach Beast. The green flag comes down, and the whole shot goes to the Florida Ford, the car killer of Butch Lowe, with a full truck length advantage sideways over the last set of cars, but enough to take the win. And the Florida fans love every minute of it as the Florida Bronco of Butch Lowe will go on to take on the winner of the 4-wheel monster truck category here at the Super Bowl of Motorsports. Shelley?
It's an interesting contest when you get the monster trucks and the tanks together, because one doesn't get the height the other one has, but the other gets the speed. So we'll see if jumping or if the tread tires make the difference.
Well, indeed, we still have to determine the winner of the 4-wheel category, and with Kenny Kelly and Bigfoot looking so strong in that division. It will be a battle if it comes down to the car killer Bronco and, of course, the big blue Ford F-350 known as Bigfoot. On the slow motion replay, it looked like Butch Lowe had everything going for him until he got a little sideways coming down off the first set of cars. At that point, when he hit the second dirt ramp, the machine was sideways, but he used that stick steering wheel to keep straight, going through at 8.43 seconds. And that'll be good enough to keep pace with any of the toughest of the monsters. In the other lane, the Virginia Beach Beast, however, had a slow start. When he hit the first set of cars, the machine seemed to be leaning quite heavily, but the second set looked pretty straight, Shelley.
Yeah, but he didn't get nearly the type of height that we've seen in some of these other tanks before.
Oh, the machine, even though as smooth as glass all the way across the finish line, goes through at 9.50 seconds. That was not nearly enough to knock Butch Lowe out of the field.
We'll be back with more excitement here in Tampa right after this.
On the starting line, the semi-final round of the monster truck competition here at the U.S. Hot Rod Association Super Bowl of Motorsports. And this pairing in the semifinals will pit Ford versus Ford, but Mustang versus F-350. It'll be Tommy Bryant's incredible Pony Express Mustang that a first-round single run when his opponent could not show. He still ran the second quickest elapsed time of the event at 8.49 seconds, indeed tying Kenny Kelling and Bigfoot's qualifying time. However, in the first round over the Virginia Giant, Kelling ran the quickest run of this event at 7.43 seconds on this 150-foot-long monster truck course. And believe me, Shelley, it's going to take a major upset for Tommy Bryant and the Pony Express to do anything to Kenny Kelling.
Oh, but for Ford fans, this must be monster truck heaven.
That's true. So far, of the semifinalists, 3 of them are Ford products. But Tommy Bryant would love nothing more than to beat the big blue Ford. Of course, any driver in monster truck racing, that's his goal. Has to make sure he gets at least a hole shot off the starting line, because if Bryant gets any advantage in that Mustang at all, he may be able to pull off the supreme upset here at the Super Bowl of Motorsports. Waiting patiently for the green flag start. RPM's up. And they leave the starting line, and the hole shot goes to Bryant. The Pony Express Mustang almost on 2 wheels into the mud pit. Sideways. Unbelievable finish. Too close to call at this point. Absolutely unbelievable effort for Tommy Bryant and the Pony Express. Shelley got the whole shot. He was ahead all the way until the machine went sideways into the mud pit. What a ride.
That's the wildest ride we've seen this evening.
It will be the incredible Thumper, the Florida-based machine of Earl Dadgett, taking on the Virginia Giant. Another all-Ford battle, Shelley, and indeed Deal Wilson recorded an 8.8-second losing time in the first round to Bigfoot and got into this round as the quickest loser. Thumper, in the meantime, ran 8.90 seconds to make this battle, so this should be great. Both drivers only separated by 1/10 of a second.
Well, Thumper has an advantage, though. He's got his little mascot puppet with him, so we'll see if that little mascot pulls him through in this Ford battle.
Deal Wilson, well known for his ability to handle the tremendous amount of horsepower produced by that supercharged, fuel-injected Ford power plant. There's Deal waiting patiently for the starter signal. Concentrating intensely, they leave the starting line, and Deal Wilson gets the advantage off the line. The Virginia Giant takes it as Thumper gets sideways, almost over on 2 wheels. Earl Dadgett and Thumper taking the wildest ride of the two, but the Virginia Giant goes to the final round. This is Dick Wilson from Dade City, Florida, who made the final round by virtue of his 2.28-second winning elapsed time in the first round with his fuel-injected, methanol-burning, 500 cubic inch Chevrolet-powered Jeep funny car called the 18. But Shelley, he is up against this man, a living legend in mud racing, not only in this state, but across the country. You know, 5 years ago in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this guy won the very first U.S. Hot Rod Association National Mud Racing event held in Florida. This is Al Stebbins and the Black Magic Corvette, a 1982 Chevrolet that has been so strong for 5 straight years. And this is the same machine he ran back at that first national event in this state, Shelley.
Well, when you believe in something, you go all the way with it. It's paid off for him. He's in the final night.
I'll tell you, an equally matched pair of machines. 514 cubic inches of Chevy in the Black Magic, 500 cubic inches in this machine. Dick Wilson's own 18 Jeep, sponsored, as you can see, by his own tractor service.
Well, at least he gets a sponsor who believes in himself. That's
for sure. You don't have to worry about the sponsor being disappointed. He only has himself. Incredible with this, one of the very first full-body passenger cars ever put in a mud pit. The nitrous oxide injected Orange City, Florida. We saw Stebbins run the quickest pass of eliminations in the first round at 2.13 seconds so far. John Runner's national elapsed time record for this distance at this track, as a matter of fact, of 1.92 seconds, remains untouched. I'll tell you, though, it's going to take an under 2-second run probably to win this particular battle.
And these are the cars that can do it.
That's for sure. The two quickest machines in attendance. The Super Bowl of Motorsports 1989. The starter checks to make sure both drivers are ready. Waiting now for the green light for the championship final. Checking one more time to see if Dickie Wilson is ready. The starter checking to see if both drivers are staged. The championship on the line at the 1989 Super Bowl of Motorsports. Dick Wilson's 18 Jeep against Al Stebbins' Black Magic Corvette.
The whole shot goes to the Jeep. The Black Magic Corvette too fast through the banner and almost into the retaining wall. Unbelievable battle, but an automatic disqualification for the Corvette going through the banner that marks the end of the shutdown area. One of the closest side-by-side battles we have ever seen in U.S. Hot Rod Association history, and Dick Wilson knows he's won it, if only by the disqualification of his opponent. An absolutely incredible come-from-behind effort from Stebbins and the Black Magic, but Wilson and the A-team holding his own all the way down this 100-foot-long pit. Simply incredible side-by-side action. On the replay, you can see the whole shot by the A-team Jeep. A full car length over the Black Magic Corvette. Stebbins trying to reel him in before the finish line. Charging on the top end at the finish, 2 feet between the two of them, 249 to a 252, but the Jeep wins it by default. Coming up, monster truck action that should be just as wild. Stay with us.
Well, this is the championship final round for the four-wheel drive monster trucks, and indeed the winner of this battle, remember, will come back to take on Butch Lowe in the car killer tank Bronco Ford. And it will be a matchup that the crowd will thoroughly enjoy, Shelley.
And this is the second chance that Bigfoot and Virginia Giant are meeting each other this evening. Both of them have taken extremely wild rides and some heavy hits to their vehicles this evening. Let's hope both of them get through this.
Well, it's interesting that you brought that up, because indeed, like you say, in the first round, these two squared off, and Dale Wilson lost when Kenny Kelling and Bigfoot ran the quickest elapsed time of the event so far at 7.43 seconds. But Dale got back in the Virginia Giant in the semifinals as the quickest loser from the first round. He then beat the Thumper Ford and is now in the final again with Kelling. So here's his chance, like you said, for revenge.
I think it's going to be a clear head and some good driving that's going to win this. You can't just have a grudge match against somebody. You've got to have the skill and the focus to get through this.
That's true, but remember, we pointed out in the first round that Dale Wilson literally lives to beat this machine. The big blue Bigfoot machine. Bob Chandler out of St. Louis, Missouri. It's interesting to note that the quickest elapsed time by Dale Wilson came in the semifinals at 8.10 seconds. But so far in the first and second round of eliminations, Kenny Kelling has never been slower than 7.99 seconds. The only 7-second vehicle in competition. That means Dale Wilson is going to have to leave the starting line first if he expects to get any advantage on Kelling and Bigfoot.
And just to hang on to it, too, not to get sideways and to try to hit those cars as centered as possible.
Wilson, always the picture of intense concentration as he waits for the green light to start off the championship final. They leave the line dead even, no advantage to either driver. They land hard. Kelling gets sideways, hits the last set of cars, and Kenny Kelling sends Bigfoot into the sky for at least a half truck length victory. Dale Wilson goes down in defeat again to the big blue Ford from St. Louis. He's got to be bitter at this point, Shelley.
Well, he gave Bigfoot a good run for his money, and Bigfoot had to come to a bouncing start, several bounces before he could really get it under control.
There's no question Kenny Kelling spent most of the time in the air, but there is the victorious driver as Bob Chandler's team truck once again takes a major victory. But remember, the monster truck racing is not done, because we now will pit Kenny Kelling in Bigfoot against Florida's own Butch Lowe in the car killer tank.
Oh, I love seeing these two pair up.
Well, on the replay, you can see Dale Wilson definitely got a whole shot, almost a full truck length on Kenny Kelling and Bigfoot. But Kelling made up the difference at the worst point. Right here, you see Bigfoot bounce. It's in the air, and Kelling managed to still get the power to the ground to get around Dale Wilson in the incredible Virginia Giant. In fact, you can see Kelling stretches it to, at the finish line, a truck and a half between the two, as Kelling goes airborne right towards the crowd. They love every minute of the bouncing Bigfoot action. 8.21 seconds for the Big Blue Ford to a losing 9:17 for Dale Wilson.
at an absolutely sold-out Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. And this is the battle the crowd is here to see. The final Monster Truck Championship dash of the evening for the overall title. Shelly Herman, it will be Bigfoot against a local Ford tank truck, Butch Lowe's car killer.
I really like to see these two type of vehicles compete against each other. They're both so fast, they're both so good and so different, but yet their times can be within fractions of a second of each other.
That's true. You're looking at a 23,000-pound Army M4 tank chassis with a brand new Ford Bronco body on top, a supercharged Ford power plant in the rear, and here is the four-wheel king Bigfoot, but problems for the tank, and Bigfoot and Kenny Kelling take it going away. Whoa, Bigfoot just about going over on two wheels. Absolutely incredibly hard landing for Kenny Kelling in the victory, but still an amazing job by the team driver from St. Louis as he defeats the car killer tank of Butch Lowe, and for the second year in a row wins the Super Bowl of Motorsports in an incredible drive to the finish line.
Boy, Bigfoot blew him away right from the start. But I'll tell you, it's been some crazy driving for Bigfoot tonight. I haven't seen him so reckless ever.
Well, I'll tell you, like you pointed out, a lot of these guys took wild rides, but there's the young man who took enough wild rides to win it all. Kenny Kelling saluting the crowd as they salute their favorite monster machine, the machine that started it all. And Bigfoot, as I said, for the second year in a row, takes the overall championship here at the Super Bowl of Motorsports in Tampa. Well, the grand finale here at the 1989 Super Bowl of Motorsports will include something we have never seen at a U.S. Hot Rod Association event before. Drag racing fans will certainly recognize this vehicle, which since 1964 has been one of the best known on the nation's drag strips. This is the jet-powered dragster of Los Angeles, California veteran Doug Rose. The Green Mamba, a machine utilizing a Westinghouse J-34 jet engine out of a Navy Banshee fighter plane. It produces over 6,000 pounds of thrust, the equivalent of 3,500 horsepower. And in just a moment, we'll get a chance, Shelley, to see just what 6,000 pounds of thrust can do to a hapless import truck.
I don't think he's going to race him, is he?
No, as a matter of fact, it'll be a pretty one-sided battle. But what we're looking at right now is the ground crew of the U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship Mud Racing and Monster Truck Tour hooking this little truck up to the back of Doug Rose's incredible Green Mamba jet car. Well, there's a reason that this event has become one of the most popular and most incredible events of the U.S. Hot Rod Association Tour. And Shelley, once again, the Super Bowl of Motorsports has no comparison anywhere.
It really doesn't. And if I knew there was going to be all this excitement here with all the fire and everything, I would have brought some marshmallows to roast.
Absolutely incredible performance by Doug Rose, but the Mud Racing Championships once again prove that the racers that show up here at Tampa Stadium eventually put down the quickest and fastest runs of the year. 2.13 seconds for the Black Magic Corvette and another win.
It sure was exciting, too.
And, of course, you can't fault Kenny Kelling and Bigfoot. Once again, another championship for Bob Chandler.
I don't know who's going to catch this guy. There's got to be somebody out there who's going to do it, and hopefully we'll get it for you.
The U.S. Association Mud Racing, Monster Truck, and Exhibition vehicles have to offer. But believe me, this isn't the end of the 1989 championship season. We've got more action to bring to you from the U.S. Hot Rod Association National event. Myself and Shelly Herman. Thanks for being with us, and hope to see you at the next U.S. Hot Rod Association National Championship Motorsports event. We're back at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana for U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship Monster Truck action. I'm Brett Kebner along with Shelly Herman. We are ready for elimination-style monster truck action on a closed course. And indeed, the very first pair up includes the incredible Predator of Alan Paiso from Michigan and this incredible tow truck. Ray Perkowski from St. Louis, Missouri. The machine called Evil Force is a fully operational tow truck. Here they come to the finish line. And, man, you couldn't call a closer race than that, Shelley.
That's really something I've never seen Evil Force run before, and I'm glad he doesn't have to put his own tow truck to his own usage.
Well, the winner has been declared the Predator of Alan Peso, the supercharged Chevrolet, but you got to credit the Ford driver with the original pickup truck from St. Louis. A tremendous effort. Now, this is an unusual event, an unusual course in the sense that the finish line is actually in the air. These vehicles will be airborne, heading at each other on two different tracks. When they cross the actual finish line that determines the winner and runner-up. Of course, the winner of each round will advance to the next competition round here in the four-wheel drive class. And remember, the winner of the overall four-wheel drive title will take on the winner of the tank division. Here you see that last set of cars in which in the middle, in the air, is the finish line. Peso a little sideways. Watch the landing. Boy, he takes a hit in the cockpit. The machine very sideways. He manages to keep it upright while hanging out of the driver's side window to take the win by a matter of inches.
He sure got his head bunged up there, too, by hanging it out the window like that.
A lot of drivers seem to prefer to be able to see the left front wheel while they're going over cars, to see how it reacts, to see if the suspension is working properly, and it also gives them a little better field of vision. Now here you see Ray Perkowski from St. Louis with the wheels up of this incredible 18,000-pound vehicle. It is one of the heaviest monster trucks currently in competition. It takes a rough landing as well. And like I said, he was just a few feet short in that airborne finish line, sending Michigan's Alan Peso and the Predator Chevrolet into the next competition round. Wild ride here by the Evil Force tow truck.
And a hard landing.
I think we'll be seeing a lot more of Ray Perkowski in the future, but Peso, like I said, advances to the next round, and here is his competition. The worst possible opponent a monster truck driver could have. Andy Brass from St. Louis, Missouri, also driving the infamous Bigfoot Ford of Bob Chandler, Shelley.
It's bad for Predator, but it's great for the fans. They all love Bigfoot, and a lot of them come out just to see Bigfoot compete live.
Couldn't ask for more. Look at this packed house watching a Ford versus Chevrolet battle between two of the biggest names in the business. Bigfoot and Alan Peso leave together. Andy Brass takes the most famous truck in the history of motorsports around the first turn. Here they come to the airborne finish line. Bigfoot by a full truck length. But look at Peso. Unbelievable sideways bounce and a landing that puts him in the mud pit. Unbelievable effort put forth by that 22-year-old Michigan driver.
He had trouble holding on to it earlier, and he wound up in the mud this time, and I hope that steam that we saw was just because of the mud hitting the engine and nothing broke.
Actually, the smoke we saw, I think, was coming out before he ever got into the mud. I think the landing may have broken one of the power steering pumps. Here it is in slow motion. We'll get a chance to see. Now, this is a wild ride. He hits the cars at an angle. That's what put him sideways. Look at this thing in the air. Unbelievable landing on the left front tire. And that did indeed break the steering pump. There you see the smoke coming out, as indeed I believe the exhaust headers were being sprayed with power steering fluid. But what a ride! Finally ending up in the mud. Look at him in the cockpit, just being thrown all over the place, even though he is strapped in tight with a 5-point harness system. Unbelievable ride for Alan Peso. You couldn't ask for that young man to have tried any harder, Shelley.
And this is the winner. As you can see, a perfect lineup to hit these cars. He hits, and look at the height that he gets. It's that kind of action that makes him number one.
Well, Andy Brass had a pretty rough landing. It's amazing, as you pointed out, though, the hit was perfect. The machine actually took a nosedive onto the left front, even in the air. And as you can see, a lot of bouncing after landing. The tires compressing, a tremendous driving job by Brass. Matter of fact, just barely tapping one of our event signs down there.
So Brass will go on to be the winner of the monster truck competition, but he's got some tanks to contend with coming up.
That's right, he wins the four-wheel drive division, but now we've got a shootout between some of the wildest monster machines ever created, the incredible tanks. But right now, Andy Brass is just concerned with making it into that final. They'll have to check the suspension on this vehicle to make sure everything is okay to take on the winner of these incredible vehicles, the Monster Tank Showdown, coming up next. We're back at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, as we are narrowing the field of monster machines down to an overall championship battle here at the U.S. Hot Rod Association Monster Truck and Thrill Show Spectacular. I'm Brett Kevner, and along with Shelley Herman, this is the battle for the overall Tank Monster Championship. You're looking at two trucks using an Army M4 chassis each with supercharged Chevrolet motivation. In the left-hand side of your screen, it's the original tank. Mike Katz at the wheel of Bill Towns' incredible Virginia Beach Beast Chevy Blazer, taking on the one and only Randy Christie, a longtime drag racer who is now wheeling Fred Schaefer's incredible supercharged Chevy-powered barefoot tracks. The green flag comes up, and Shelley, these things aren't 18,000-pound four-wheelers. These are 25,000 pounds of metal.
And with that, you get a little different strategy. You're not looking so much for the height. You're looking to get over these vehicles as fast as you can.
And obviously, it is a runaway for Bill Towns' incredible Virginia Beach Beast. Mike Katz taking this one easily, as it looked like Randy Christie may have had some problems making the turn down there. And that's not unusual, especially on concrete. Because these machines are turned like tanks, you don't use a steering wheel, you use two separate sticks to stop the power going to each set of tracks. Sometimes on a concrete course, it's real easy to spin these things out because of the weight and the fact that it's metal against concrete. But in any case, Mike Katz will now go to the next round against a driver we've already seen. Now let's take a look at the slow motion replay of that last set of cars. And amazingly, this thing does get air. It's very unusual to see a tank get airborne over the cars, mainly because they have the power, the weight, and the forward momentum to literally plow through the cars rather than jump over them.
And he was able to hang on to it too and actually get some speed going over the cars without losing it.
Well, that's a good point, Shelley, because these particular machines have no suspension. If you think it's a rough ride bouncing around in those monster trucks, take a look at the beating Randy Christie takes in this particular hit with the barefoot fast tracks. Now watch this thing. It doesn't get too much air, but look at the driver. Because there's no suspension, he is just thrown around in the cockpit like you can't believe. This is the roughest ride in all of monster truck racing. These 25,000-pound Army tanks with no suspension whatsoever, when you come off the cars and land on concrete, you feel every bit of it. Wham! Just like that. Unbelievable ride.
He's wearing a neck collar and a harness, and he still gets beat around like that in the cab.
It's true, but if it wasn't for that safety equipment, boy, it sure would be a lot worse. Now, here's the man that Katz has to take on to get a berth in the final round to face Bigfoot. It's a driver we just saw in the Predator four-wheeler Chevrolet. This is Alan Pezzo again, a Michigan driver in the near lane with his Predator tank. He has two monster trucks, and this 22-year-old Shelley built both of them alone. He is an amazing engineer.
And really dedicated to the sport.
The green flag goes up. They leave the starting line. They're not the fastest machines on takeoff, but they can corner like nothing else in motorsports. Watch this. Just whipping it around, using that stick control system to line up anywhere, take any type of turn. And again, it's a runaway for Katz as Pezzo has problems spinning around on the concrete floor of the Superdome in that last turn. So it looks like Katz in the Virginia Beach Beast goes into the final. A Ford versus Chevrolet battle. He will take on Bigfoot. There's a nice little victory 360 spin for you.
The classic duel, Chevy versus Ford.
I'll tell you, the Bigfoot team is going to have to really be on their toes for this thing because Andy Brass has faced the Virginia Beach Beast tank before, and it's always tough. The original monster tank will be coming up against the original monster truck. Let's take a look at Pezzo as he hits the last set of cars rather late. At this point, Katz in the Virginia Beach machine was already past the finish line. Again, you can see the driver thrown all around the cockpit as these machines do not have any suspension whatsoever. Watch this landing. Watch the driver. Wham! Into the dashboard. You can actually see his helmet hit the dashboard and move it. Absolutely incredible hit. Now, I'm sure Mike Katz will be a little bit more secure. He gets air about 2 feet up and actually lands quite nicely because he was using the cars as a form of suspension, brushing them. Now, let's see what happens when he comes off the dirt.
He hits the bottom, and he doesn't hit his head.
No, he doesn't slam his head into the dashboard, but still a violent ride. But that's the machine you'll be seeing in the showdown against Bigfoot. In just a moment, Bigfoot should be pulling out onto the starting line as Katz is whipped it right back around and is just waiting for his opponent to show. As you can see, an absolute packed house here tonight, literally up to the rafters with race fans at this U.S. Off-Road Association Championship event. And here comes Andy Brass in the Ford four-wheeler taking on the Chevrolet-powered tank.
When the crowd are on their feet, too, you can just hear them. They love this kind of competition.
Well, rightfully so. Like we said, this is the original Monster four-wheeler against the original Monster tank. The two machines that started two different segments of the same motorsport. The flagman has them lined up, ready to drop the green. There we go. And we're underway in the championship battle here at the New Orleans Superdome for this U.S. Off-Road Association Championship title. Andy Brass takes the turn a little wide with Bigfoot. Now gets back on the throttle. Here comes Katz in the tank. Side by side, Bigfoot by a full truck length. I'll tell you what, that was driving by Andy Brass. He took that first turn too wide and still came back to make up the difference.
Well, like they say, what Ford stands for, first on race day.
In this particular case, it's absolutely true, as Katz goes down to beat by about 1 full truck length. You can see Andy Brass already waving to the Bigfoot fans. They are thrilled with that one. Now, it looked like Katz's run was perfect in every respect, and very seldom can a four-wheeler outrun straight against the clock one of these tank machines. He lands hard in the center of the cars, but remember, he's not getting the air that the four-wheelers are. Comes out of the cars fine. It looked like just about a perfect run. He gets thrown around a little bit in there, but we can see a lot of smoke out of the engine. That may have indicated a problem. In fact, there's Katz looking back at the motor behind him. So apparently there was a problem with the power plant. Now watch Andy Brass's last hit. At this point, just going to clear these cars and get over that finish line in the air. There's the win, and here's the landing right after it. Beautiful, smooth landing. A little bit of a bounce, wheels up for the fans as Bigfoot comes back down to earth. Once again, a champion. How many times have we seen this sight on ESPN's coverage of SRO Pace U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship action? Bigfoot driving away for the victory. And I'll tell you, after 14 years, that big blue Ford of Bob Chandler's is still on top of this sport. We'll be back with a few final words from the New Orleans Superdome in just a moment. Well, anytime you get the biggest names in monster truck racing together in one place, you know it's going to be a battle. But, Shelley, what can you say about Bigfoot? Andy Brass and the Big Blue Ford do it again.
Bigfoot is always such a crowd pleaser, but there's always some young Turk coming up the pike ready to take him on, and Bigfoot always manages to stay that half a step ahead of everybody else.
That's for sure. And in the super modified mud racing ranks, Larry Jarrett took his second U.S. Hot Rod Association National Championship win here tonight. But indeed, one of these days this year, he's going to run up against world champ Tom Martin, Tom Mintz, and some of these other hitters, and that's going to be a battle.
That should be some real exciting competition.
You have to talk about Ernie Adams, a motorcycle jumper who maybe doesn't have as much experience as some of the bigger known names in that particular business, but man, his style is incredible.
You know, in such a short period of time, he's made quite a name for himself and quite a good reputation. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of him this year.
And hopefully we'll see a lot more of this kind of action at U.S. Hot Rod Association events across the country. We'd like to thank you for being with us on behalf of ESPN, SRO Pace Promotions, and the U.S. Hot Rod Association. On behalf of myself, Brett Kuttner, and Shelley Herban, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you at the next U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship Mud Racing and Monster Truck Spectacular.